Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, welcome, and if you're an oldie but a goodie, welcome back. We are now, today is December 31st, and a lot of people out there are doing their 2024 budgets, going through their sinking funds and sort of setting up goals for 2024. So if you like watching these kind of videos, just keep on watching. Alright, so since the last time we did a video, I had to go back and look. It was October, so the last budget video was October, and I did all the planning for, I think, the first quarter of 2024. You guys saw me preparing, I guess, my sheets, and I was giving you the hubby recap, I guess, while I was drawing, basically. And then we only did like September. So let's see, what should we do first? Dun 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 dun. Okay, so let's do December, since today is December 31st. So in December, I don't think anything, well, can't say anything changed because my whole life changed. But as you guys know, so the main account clearly is all for bills. Nothing has changed as far as the main account, except for, let's see, did anything change? No, nothing has changed except for how our long-term disability payments come in. That it was something we had to adjust to, because starting in December is a one-time payment versus them paying us weekly. Then the other adjustment that we had to do was, instead of me constantly transferring the $1,000 to our sinking funds, I changed my whole direct deposit in December. So December's direct deposit got totally changed, just so I don't have to continue transferring the $1,000 for our sinking funds, since that direct deposit from hubby's job is not going through. So we ended up somewhere in the middle of December. Not sure when we did it. Somewhere in the middle. Let's see if I have a date for you. Nope, I don't have a date, because I didn't write a date. Somewhere, I want to say somewhere in the middle, we decided to close out the people's account, which is our sinking funds, with our savings, and put it all into the, not the main account, but put it into my personal account and make that the sinking funds. Because if I didn't transfer, so it's like, it's the bank's fault, right? Let's blame it on the bank. So if I don't transfer over the $1,000 at a certain point into that bank account, they charge you a fee, right? So that was the people's account. And since the direct deposit wasn't going through and it wasn't enough, they wanted to charge me the $25 fee. So because our stuff is becoming more minimum, right, instead of so much, because now we have less debt, less stuff to do, we decided to just shrink it up a little bit. So we just decided close out this account. So this is like madness. And put it into my personal account. So I started using the personal account. I transferred everything over from the people's and started putting it into my personal account. And what I ended up doing was making the Nina bucket into my grocery bucket, because don't forget, that one was completely empty, zeroed out, because clearly Nina passed away. So I made that into the grocery budget. And then now everything is in the personal account that was technically for me, for groceries, toiletries, and my personal car gas, but clearly we don't have that anymore. It was really for groceries and toiletries. So since it was only for those two, versus a lot of other stuff, we said, well, we have the empty Nina bucket. We can use that for groceries. Clearly, gas is now Uber, which is still the car bucket that we're using. And toiletries can go into my home bucket. So it wasn't a big shift, right? So we did that in December, somewhere in the middle. We ended up transferring everything. We ended up closing out everything. And then somewhere in the middle, I ended up changing the direct deposit to go, more into the sinking funds, because now I'm in a different bank. Now it's Chase. So they also have, if you don't deposit a certain amount, then you have a fee. But now I can deposit the 9. So now, because we put the groceries in here and everything else, my buckets change, right? Like the amount of the buckets change. Total that we need is $19.50 instead of the $14.50, because I'm adding the groceries, the toiletries, not gas, but just groceries and toiletries. So our bucket changed, our total bucket changed. And then I'm the only one contributing direct deposit into that account, so it's $9.75 per pay period that I end up putting for the sinking funds on my personal account. Then the remainder goes into the main account. Okay, so that's one thing we had to end up changing. Then we opened up with Chase the savings, which is a different savings from our other savings, because don't forget, I think we have 3 savings, and just to keep up the same thing as the sinking fund savings that we had. So now, starting in January, it's February, starting in January, I don't have my personal, so I'm leaving this blank. We just have the main, and then we just have the sinking funds, right? Then our buckets is the groceries, the taxes, membership, the car, which is technically gas or Uber, Christmas, clothes, the home, and the home is also toiletries, the medical, other, and that's it. So that's one that changed. Then we have, let's see, what else changed? I think that was it. Yeah, that's the only thing that changed. So I did so at the end of the year, every year I recap my sinking funds to make sure that I am funding enough money to every bucket that I have the following year. So I do tally up every month and give it a total, right? So here's the total for the end of the year, which is down here. So here's the whole entire total of 2023. I did it in pencil because pencil is easy. You can erase if you make a mistake, but I hope you guys can see it. So in 2023, this was the total. Obviously I kept, Nina is there, but it's because, I kept the tally going. This was in 2022, so I go back at least one more year prior to just make sure I'm not overspending, so I can compare from 2022, how we did in 2022 versus 2023. The taxes went down clearly. So 2022 it was 2303 taxes. This year was 2154 because now we had I sold the motorcycle and something else, so the taxes are less, right? Memberships, clearly we started eliminating all of the subscriptions, right? Because we wanted to save more money, kind of a deal. So we ended up I think we took out a bunch of memberships, so it went down. In the magazines, we had a bunch of magazines, so we had, clearly memberships has less. Now the car, we did have more in the car. So the car in 2022 we did 1,200 versus 2,200, but it's because we had to do more maintenance on the cars because we were traveling to Tennessee. So every time we came back, we always had to do like an oil change, the tune-ups and all that stuff. So clearly it was because of that. So that one was higher. Christmas was lowered because I think in 2022 I was still getting adjusted to not overspending, and I ended up just keeping up with whatever I had. Like whatever was there, that was it. You know, Christmas, holiday, giving, you feel like you gotta give and all that stuff. Campbell is trying to clean the vacuum, by the way. Do you need my help, honey?
I would do with your help, but it's okay.
Please hold. Campbell needs help. Okay. Help Mr. Campbell there. Alright, so, you know, you think you gotta give because it's Christmas. I think that's where I left off. So I did overspend in 2022. Got excited because I had plenty of grandkids now. And I overspent for Christmas in 2022. This year, I stayed with the cap, basically. And I just purchased what was necessary. And I think this year is more of, because we still have the mentality that we are leaving to Tennessee, we're not going to have a huge Christmas next year because no one is going to come to Tennessee for Christmas. They all work. They all have their own little families. So we will see how that one goes for 2024, right? Then the clothes, actually, we spent less for clothes. I think Bella has hit a age where I think she's just that size and she's not, you know, getting bigger. Clearly, hopefully she's not getting smaller either, but so it was less in the clothes. Home, we spent less. And I think that's because we started separating more of the Tennessee stuff and started pulling from more of savings and stuff like that we didn't spend. We spent less in the home department. And this year we didn't do too much in the garden. Usually our budget always goes to the gardening stuff, and we eliminated a lot of stuff for the garden because we're leaving in 2024. So we didn't want to overspend in the garden to have to pull all that stuff and move it to Tennessee. So I think we just used what we had. We didn't really buy things that, you know, clearly we wanted to make our garden better, but at least we didn't, you know, we didn't overspend. Medical, clearly we went way beyond what we have budgeted, but it's because of Campbell. So we hit our cap on, so we have the HSA card that we have every year, and by the time October came around, that thing was at 0. So we had to start using what we had in the medical bucket, and before we knew it, that thing was like every month I think we were barely scrambling with the bucket because I still pay some old medical bills. You see, like by the end of December on the medical bucket, we were already negative 209. So every month was like a scratch on the medical, but there's nothing we can do about that. The other, clearly, I think we spent more on the other, but than last year. I think I used it more this year than last year, especially for like medical. Like I would transfer from the other to the medical just to keep up the medical bucket and not be too excessive before the following month. So the totals of, so usually what I do is I take the total amount that we spent that year, and then I divide it by the 12, clearly for 12 months, and then that's what it's supposed to look like for each bucket. So we already have a set amount for each bucket, and it totals $19.50. So that includes the $4.50 for the groceries, right? Because that's new. We can't divide Nina because Nina doesn't count anymore. So starting clearly December, no, not December, January, we fill up the bucket for groceries for $4.50. Then taxes was $179.57, so we're off by like $9, but we fill up that bucket 170. Then you have memberships was 7303, we have 85. Uber, car, gas, whatever, is 190, we put 165. Christmas was 182, we do 165. Clothes was 117, we do 125. So clearly some are more than what I divided it by the 12, but I'm gonna leave them alone. I'm not changing any of my buckets. Home was 370, we do 330. Medical was 281, but we do 250. And then other was 105, and we do 160. So the total I spent for each one that I divided by 12 was $18.99. So let's say $1,900, right? Let's round it up. But the total we fill each bucket is $19.50. So I got $50 to play around if I want in between the buckets that have too much money in it. So that's why I'm gonna leave it alone. The $50 doesn't bother me. That's why the other bucket is there. So I'm sure it looks like I overspent on the other, but I'm sure it was like I transferred it to the medical just so it doesn't go excessive on negative, right? So I want to say, even when I do my totals, I total what I spent. So if I transferred from other, I don't know, $50 to put into medical, I don't count that in my total of spending. I want to know what I actually spent, not from, stealing from Peter to pay Paul number. I want the actual spent money to make sure that my buckets are in order. So these are the numbers we're doing starting in 2024 in January. So here's the buckets, and now we have the groceries at $4.50. We have the taxes $170, memberships $85, the car Uber $165, Christmas still $165, clothes $125, home $330, medical $250, and the other is $160. That's how much we'll be funding every single month for each bucket. As you can see, I am positive still in every single bucket at the end starting January. So groceries starting obviously January 1st, I have 405 for groceries. I have 695 for taxes. I have 277 for memberships. I have 176 for car or Uber. I have 87 for Christmas, but that bucket doesn't get touched till like maybe July. Like I start looking for deals. So maybe July I'll start getting Christmas stuff. Clothes, we have 257. Home, we have 296. Medical, I have 65. And other, I have $268 for other. So if I need to move some of this money to the medical because it's only $65 and things starts coming in, I have $200 on the other to switch to go into medical. So that's what I don't count in my total is the 200 going into medical, because I don't want to know that I took 200 from other to put it into medical. I want to know what I actually spent in the medical bucket. I hope that makes sense. So that's that for the sinking funds, and that's how I do my recap. So clearly everything basically is the same. We ended up with all the bills coming out and transferring money to the savings still. I want to say we ended up ending December with 81.48.31. The only big actual expense we had this month was the check didn't clear. So actually we had 22. Yep. So at the beginning of January, we ended up with 22,071.31. Out of that, we did have something done for the house in Tennessee, so we wrote the check, but it's 13,000, so we only ended up with the 81.48.31 once he clears the check. And then I have all the bills coming out as usual, and I leave myself the cushion. Right now, everything starting in January will start coming in, and then that's what I write on here. Sinking funds is the 2,530.52, and then I always check it off. And then here is the buckets, right? So now let's talk about 2024 finances. So when we ended up doing this hot mess, now we don't have that many bank accounts to have to actually deal with, thank gosh. So last year, let's see. So here was everything from 2023. So this is what everything started with investments, savings, stocks, what else? Stocks, any app that I use to, get money from. So in 2023, the beginning of 2023, we had 129 in the Robinhood app, $10 in the savings pen fed. We had 20 in the People savings, 321 in the market savings, and I had 168 stocks at work, which were worth like $35, I guess at that time, which it was 5,880. So, and clearly the beginning of this year. So I have 2,390 in the savings. Markets, we have 1,648. We tend not to try to touch this. We usually come for this one first because this one has a higher interest on it. So we try to leave it alone or try to put more in there if we know we're not touching it anytime soon. So we leave it there. Pen fed, thanks to drafting out, right? We're doing the every bucket $5 challenge. Automatically coming out of each bucket, that's $710 that we saved up. For 2024, I'm actually doing $10. So actually getting withdrawn $90 straight out from the beginning every month, so I don't see it. So that's another savings. Robinhood, it has not made any money yet, right? Because those are stocks, so you can't rely on stocks. Stocks, you got to leave them alone, not pay any attention to them, so they can accumulate money as the market goes, right? So it has not done any money. So actually as of yesterday, so I have the total deposited into that 225.05 and brought stocks. And as of today, because I just checked again, it's not 224.49, it's actually 224.57. So if you look at it, I actually lost money. Let's see, 224.57 minus the 225.05. Yeah, 48 cents. I lost money. But the total deposit, so what you look at is the total deposit you actually purchased the stocks with versus, what it looks like today. And mine's that's not looking too good right now. But you're not supposed to look at it all the time, basically. That you're supposed to leave it and forget it kind of stocks. And, so I own a bunch of different kind of small stocks. They're not small. You buy a certain amount of shares, crypto, blah, 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 blah. Then I have my work stocks. So right now I still have my work stocks. And it was still 168 unless in January they decide to give me a load more. But right now they're worth, let's see, what is it worth? Yesterday they were worth 55.40. And today clearly is still the same because today is Sunday. So the stock market is closed, but as of yet this weekend, 55.40, I have 9,307 worth of stocks that I can still use. Then I have the games that I be playing. So Sketch, it's the one you scan. I'll put all this stuff below, so if you guys are interested in saving money and stuff like that, I'll put all the stuff below. Sketch is a app that you just scan every receipt you have. It accumulates points based on your receipt. I had 30,000 points, and then usually I leave it all the way to the end of the year, where clearly was yesterday. So I accumulated 30,000 points. I got $25 gift card. I was able to select a $25 gift card to like Amazon, Google, restaurants, you name it. It's like a load. And I ended up purchasing the 25, got to transfer it to my Google Play, and now all the stuff that I use for apps that comes out of my Google Play will come out of the $25 gift card, which usually comes out of my membership bucket. So like all the apps I use for my garden to scan the plants when they're dying. There's a garden app in there that I use to plant, like what plant, where is what plant, right? Like where did you put the plant? My Pandora without any commercials, I pay for that. So all of that will come out with a $25 gift card. Pushmark obviously is the app that you sell, and I sold a few things, and that one was $39.08, and that's a whole total for 2023. Google Opinion, which is Google asking for your opinion, surveys and stuff like that, and they also have receipts. I got $46.61, and then Amazon Shopper is another one, and the only thing with that one is they give you a $10 credit on your Amazon account. So then when you go buy something, it just takes the credit automatically first before you buy anything else. So somewhere down the line in 2023, I saved $131. So $131.20 that I got. So whenever I purchase something, I guess I got $10 off, and voila, $131. And that's it. So that is all for our 2023 budget. Everything is still the same. I did go ahead in that video that I showed you and did all of the things ahead of time. I think we did January and February. Yep. So those are all set. I can start using them. I don't need to do them. I'm pretty much content and happy with all of my financial goals, because that's what we've been using to pay off the things from that are still needed for the Tennessee home. What else? I had this thing that I created that I was to dot out every square so it can show me how much I got left, basically, for the amount of debt. I started this back in 2019. Not for me. I mean, I can go in and color it, but you're supposed to do this like every month, and yeah, I don't gravitate towards it, so it's not something that works for me. It's not working. I haven't done it. Technically, I'm all the way down here. If you want to be, if you want me to be completely honest, technically I'm supposed to be all the way to here with the amount of, obviously, see? And then you're supposed to go in, and every square is the amount of debt you paid, basically, and I have not done that. So that aspect of budgeting is not for me. A lot of people do it. They have a lot of stuff that tracks them, and they love seeing the track down, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, no, I don't gravitate towards it. Maybe sometime this week I'll go back and refill it, but technically you're supposed to do this every month, and at the end of the month you're supposed to go in and show how much you technically paid out in your debt. But yeah, I can't gravitate towards it. So what does our debt journey look like? here it is. So now I need another page. Most of you already know we started this journey back in 2017. We weren't too serious about it, but who is, right, when you start a journey? 2018, we were killing it, but we started killing it, right? Because it was from $80,000 to $60,000. But then in 2019, my Murphy knocked on the door like usual, and just like he's knocking on my door now, and he decided that my husband to get let go from his job, or one of our cars broke down, and you name it. It was a lot of stuff that was happening, so it ended up being clearly back into debt, and actually more than what we had started with, right? Because then I believe we ended up buying the Hyundai, a new Hyundai. We ended up buying, I think, a truck. Then that truck broke. We ended up getting the Toyota. Yeah, I'm telling you, listen, Murphy, big time, right here in 2019. Then 2020 came, right? So between 2019 and 2020, we killed it. I mean, we did half of what we owed. Then 2021, same thing. We did what we had to do, so it was lowered. So 54, 43. 2022, same thing. We went down to, oh, actually, no, 2022, it looks like it went up a little bit. Bum, 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 bum. But not that high. I guess like $2,000, so 45. But we were still killing it compared to, 93,000. And then this year. So this year, the home clearly, obviously went up because now we have two homes. So we have the Tennessee home because it was delivered. You have to pay the mortgage on it. And then the home we live in. So the homes went up and the school stayed the same. Or, yeah. I mean, they accumulate their interest. That's them. And then the credit cards, or whatever we owe is 13,000 compared to the 20,000. And then we don't owe the cars because we sold them. So total of our debt ending of 2023, $13,415.51. So if you wanna rejoice with me, we had 93,612.68 minus 13,415.51. We paid over $90,000 since 2019. Woohoo! Go us, honey. He's not even listening to us. But 13,000 is the remainder of my debt in 2023. Yes. And that will go quick before we know it. So God willing, no more Murphys, no more lemons, Lord, no more lemons, so we can be debt free in 2024. So if we keep killing it, budgeting and doing our stuff, we might be debt free in 2024, people. Ta, 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 ta. Let's rejoice. Let's do a dance. Let's see if hubby dances with me. Hubby!
Oh, Jesus Christ! What the hell? What?
We paid $80,000 in debt since 2019 when you lost your job. We only owe $13,415 in debt.
Thank you.
High five from far away.
Far away. Good. Okay.
All right.
All right.
You can go back to your TV show.
Jesus Christ. You broke my concentration, man.
We broke his concentration, man. Okay. So I will see you guys in January. Thank you for watching. God bless. Don't forget to subscribe. Give it a thumbs up. And I will see you guys on the next one. Bye.